But I want to bring in the Veterans Affairs Minister, Aaron O'Toole. First time back with me as a Veterans Affairs. Used to be on all the time as a critic. Welcome back.
Thank you.
The new veterans, this benefit will only apply to the most seriously injured vets. How many vets are eligible for this payment?
Evan, we're making this new critical injury benefit retroactive to the start of the new Veterans Charter in 2006. In the last few weeks, I've filled a lot of gaps in the new Veterans Charter. This is a new benefit, I'm calling it an enhancement, that recognizes the stress and pain of the recovery from a traumatic injury. The lump sum, the disability award that is presently in the new Veterans Charter, that's calculated at the end of recovery. Yeah. And if somebody doesn't have a permanent disability, some of them got very more modest lump sums or disability awards, and they felt that it didn't take into consideration the pain of their recovery, hospitalization, surgery, that sort of thing. This is a new benefit that recognizes and compensates for that traumatic injury, but also the period of recovery to wellness. So it's some people that got the disability award will also get this.
So how many? I
mean, over 100 right out of the gate.
Over 100?
Right out of the gate with the backdating to 2006. And then this is a new statutory benefit under the Veterans Charter that going forward will be there for Canadian Armed Forces members, whether there's one each year or 100 each year. It will really depend on the operational tempo of the forces.
Okay, so let me just get this straight. Over 100 vets, you say, will qualify. So will all those 100 get $70,000?
It is a $70,000 compensation payment, non-taxable benefit. It's not an up to $70,000. Some of the reports I saw today said up to $70,000. Okay, it's a single $70,000 payment that recognizes and compensates for that recovery period.
Okay, so can I say that you've got over 100 are eligible or they will receive it? So can we say that already $700,000 will go out to these injured vets?
Department has estimated that over 100 right away will be eligible, and what I've asked the department to do is actually proactively contact veterans that they believe are eligible based on criteria that will have to do with hospitalization, surgical intervention, recovery, that sort of thing. We want to walk people through this benefit if it's a retroactive payment, because the new Veterans Charter came in 2006. It's very good in many ways. We're fixing some gaps in the last couple of months, but this is a new benefit that for the first time takes into consideration that road to recovery for the veteran.
All right, so I'm just trying to figure this out. You've identified 100 already?
This is an estimate from the department.
That's an estimate, and you've allocated, so there will be up to $700,000, $1 million. What's the cap? I mean, I'm just trying to figure out. Veterans listening to you wonder, how do I know I'm eligible? How do I get this? How many? When does the money go out?
If you're a veteran caught by the new Veterans Charter, so post-April 2006-7, and you had a traumatic injury, a single event that led to, a traumatic injury, disruption of your life from hospitalizations or surgery or the injury itself and the rehabilitation, you very well may be eligible for this. I should add, obviously, it's part of the bill I tabled today, Evan, so it requires parliamentary approval. But because this is an important benefit, and because some of the other benefits I've introduced that correct gaps in the new Veterans Charter, my sincere hope is we can push this through the House really quick, because all of these benefits, including the family caregiver, the retirement income at 65 benefit, all of these things we want to push out quickly to make sure the veterans get them.
I'm just trying to figure this out, because at your press conference you said 200,000 will go out the first year.
No, 200,000 is what we feel is the annual likely allocation, but it all depends on operational.
So how does that work? I'm just trying to figure that out. If there's over 100, I mean, I'm just using your numbers, and you get 200,000 a year. That's basically 3 veterans worth, right?
At my launch, I said there'll be an upfront cost in the multiple millions of dollars based on this backdated group to 2006.
Oh, I see. So you'll put
what we see is an annual likely benefit in the 200,000 range, but it really depends on operations. And I should add, Evan, this is not just folks that might be injured in Iraq or Afghanistan. We have serious training incidents. Somebody, paratroopers in jumping. We have live fire exercises, things like this. A vehicle rollover in training at one of our training bases. This will be a new statutory benefit that will be there, whether you're a reservist injured training in a summer or whether you're deployed and injured in theater.
Okay, so because there's a lot of reporting, and I get this right, there could be up to $1 million right away if you hit all the 100, and then about 200,000 ongoing every year. Now, reactions coming in. Some of your critics, like Mike Blaze, who I know you know, who's been on this program, has been one of your critics, the president of the Canadian Veterans Advocacy. He sent me an email, and he sends a lot of people emails about this stuff, and he wondered whether the government was playing politics with Canada's most seriously wounded, using them as pre-election props, I'm reading, to dismiss the plight of the majority. In other words, you know, the big concern is this whole lump sum payment. This is different. As you say, it's a different issue.
It is different, yeah.
They want all veterans, not a select few, to get benefits because many vets are concerned that the lump sum just is not fair. What's your response to that?
Well, I speak with more veterans than Mike on a daily basis, but I've spoken to Mike, and I've listened to what his group has had to say. But in my examination of the issues, Evan, and in my consultations, what I wanted to do to enhance was for seriously injured people that ended up getting smaller disability awards because they recovered from their injuries. We had no mechanism to compensate for that entire period of recovery. So in some cases, you're talking to people that were in ICU that might have had multiple surgeries, but because they got better, the disability award was calculated at the end. I think where Canadians want us to be and where we are with these changes, Evan, is that if you're seriously injured in the line of service to Canada and you have a hard time transitioning into that post-military job because you're released because of your injury, you need to be taken care of. And I said in my previous announcements, we're going to do that.
Would this apply to post-traumatic stress, psychological illness?
This is open for all.
It is,
but it's based on a single traumatic incident, so it's likely going to be heavily physical injuries.
Right, because
there is no distinction.
The concern. Okay, but the concern will be because you know, as the ombudsman and as the other auditors, the Auditor General said, it's the qualification for something. You know, there's a benefit, but vets out there are saying, great to have the benefit, I never get to qualify. And vets here who might have post-traumatic stress disorder might say, that's fantastic, you broke your leg, you get it, I can't work because of post-traumatic stress disorder. I can't get over the hurdle here.
Operational stress injuries, including post-traumatic stress disorder, usually are developed post incidents or as a combination of multiple events over many years, Evan. We're investing millions in opening of new operational stress injury clinics. Mental health is a very personal priority for me as minister, but we also have to recognize what was not fixed by the disability award. So the disability award provided a lump sum, a payment, but that wasn't the only thing. There would be earnings loss benefit. We've rolled out expanding the permanent impairment allowance over the last few weeks. So what we want to move to is these stacked benefits. I want to become a single streamlined pension for our most seriously injured. And then the new Veterans Charter works well for people with more moderate injuries because it's about retraining. There's $75,000 spent on the rehabilitation of someone to get them into that new career.
I mean, last question, because you know the key concern, you know, and I know, you know, the Veterans Charter was supposed to be a living document, and it turns out that the key concern is that the lump sum payment means a lot of vets have lost their monthly benefits. So there's been access questions, there's been eligibility questions, but there's been access. Would you reconsider, you know, a monthly pension benefit instead of the lump sum?
There are lifetime benefits that we're streamlining into a monthly pension for the most seriously injured, Evan. But one thing I think will be clear, once we fill these gaps and we enhance the new Veterans Charter with this legislation I introduced today, Bill C-58, we're going to be in an end state where veterans covered by this with our enhancements and changes will be in a better position than under the old Pension Act by any measure. They will also be far superior to any comparative you know, workers' compensation scenario or anything like this. If you're injured in the service to Canada, training or in operations, you're going to be in contact and you're going to be supported by Veterans Affairs for the rest of your life. The lump sum is the disability award. This is a new critical injury benefit. We're having retirement income security. We're giving a family caregiver relief benefit. We're doing a lot of things, and when you add all of that up, It's far superior to the old system. It's focused at the wellness of the veteran, and we're also providing benefits for the families in a much better way than ever done before.
All right, so let's find out if that answers questions for the opposition. That is the Veterans Affairs Minister Aaron O'Toole on the changes made today. Good to have you back on the program, Minister O'Toole.